to welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. Now this week I've been outside working a little, so I'm a little late recording this. But anyway, I actually am planning to start my big video on black inks. It won't be uploaded next week because, well, you'll see when I finally upload the video, there's a reason. It has to wait. But what I did is I'm going to take several of these out of the video, not that one though, because they're going to be in that black ink, and this is a lot of pens. So, but I'll tell you what's here real quick, left to right. I have my vintage Aurora 88, Platinum 3776 Shoji, Lamy 2000, Pelikan 400 NN, Noodler's Konrad with a Nemosine reentry nib, Aurora DuoCart, which somebody suggested I would like last week, and it's true. I do like it. I've owned it for about a week now, and I have been enjoying it very much. This one is, what is this one? A Lamy 99. This is a Pilot Custom 92. This is a Montblanc 32. Lamy 27E. With a really cool nib. Pelikan MK10, Kaweco Dia2, Kaweco AlSport, sorry, drew a blank there. Parker Duofold, something about the color, streamline green, something like that. Columbus 65, which I just reviewed this week, and a Waterman Hemisphere. So again, too many pens to really review. So what I did is I jumped in ahead, and these are the pens that will be part of the black video. So let me take them out. All right, so a much more manageable list. And I forgot, not you, I forgot that this is the one I have to keep out. So let me set these aside so I have some room to write. So this is my Platinum 3776 Shoji, which used to be a pen I didn't care for, but it's grown on me. The nib, one thing I noticed with this ink is it's definitely all over the nib. But the ink, or I'm sorry, the pen, has a medium nib, and the ink is platinum carbon black. And that will be part of that video that's upcoming, and should have already been written, but I didn't. Oh, and the Noodler's Konrad, I'll just show you real quick. Re-entry nib. I think those look so cool. And they're not bad writers either. I'll just tell you real briefly, like I said, I'm going to do a full video on these inks. I was surprised when I wrote all this out on the same sheet all at once, how much lighter the Noodler's black is than the rest. I always had it in my head that Noodler's black was a very black ink, and it's clearly not. I mean, honestly, the blackest one here is Aurora black, which didn't surprise me. I was also surprised by how black the Lamy black is. So, things you learn when, instead of just relying on feelings, you actually study it and look at data. Ideally, I would try all these inks and all these pens, but that would be forever, so I'm not going to do that. Now I'm going to start with a couple other black inks, just for contrast purposes. This is my Kaweco AlSport. This is a pen, what have I had it, 2 years? That seems right. I don't use my Kaweco Sports much in the winter. But in the summer, they're wonderful because they fit in my pocket. I'm usually wearing a shirt like this where I don't have a pocket. Now this one, I ran into a couple cartridges. So this has a cartridge in it. I'm not a fan of cartridges, but for this, I kind of wanted to try this ink out anyway, and then I saw I had the cartridges already. Probably they came with one of these Kaweco pens that I have. I don't remember, but anyway, I thought I would try it out. So this is the Kaweco, what's it called? Pearl Black, something like that. Which actually turns out to be a very nice black. I'm not going with it for the same reason I'm not going with several other nice blacks. I want something reasonably common. But the Kaweco is a very nice pen. It's small, fits in my pocket. I own a plastic one, which you'll be seeing a lot this summer, probably more than that one. Another plastic one, which has, is it a double broad or triple broad nib? Anyway, super broad nib, which I also use a lot. You'll be seeing that one too. Let's see, and I have two others here, I think. No, one. One other here inked up with black. So we'll just throw this down. This is a black ink I purchased a sample just for giggles and snorts. Not that I was interested at all, although I do like Montegrappa's bottles. But this is a Lamy 27. I don't know if my microphone's picking that up, but I have windows open and there are birds, not chirping, squawking. This pen has an oblique broad nib, which means, does that show up? Sorta. Not well. It's cut at a slant. And I'm enjoying it very much. The ink, not a contender, but not bad looking. Montegrappa. Black. Montegrappa, I learned thanks to the Goulets, because I made a comment on their video on the Montegrappa inks. Apparently they have discontinued several of the colors I like, especially the Bordeaux. And they're going for, they have 8 inks out now that are much more intense colors. I guess that's going along with the trend. But I really love their Bordeaux. I ordered a bottle from another retailer that still had some, and so at least I'll have a spare bottle of it. It's just such a nice ink. And you'll be seeing it again. All right, so that's my black inks. And what do you think? You know, I really like this, where is it? The Edelstein Onyx also. But that's kind of expensive, so daily use. I'm torn. Still torn, but I'll cover that in the video. Do I like the Brilliant Black? Do I like the Lamy Black? The Aurora Black? I'm definitely, none of them are permanent like Noodler's Black. And I like this Carbon Black, even though it's not quite as black as the others. You know, just, oh, so many choices. 21st century problems. All right, I was corresponding with a pen pal today, and she mentioned that she really liked, she bought a bottle of Noodler's L. Lawrence because it has Lawrence of Arabia on the bottle. I've never used the ink, but I mentioned, hey, I have a World War I ink also. This is Matahari's Cordial. So, anyway, I felt compelled to ink it up. Not that I needed another pen inked up, but whatever. So this is a Pilot Custom 92, which has a very nice, smooth operating piston. Has a broad nib, and as I said, Noodler's Matahari's I like it after it dries. It's just kind of a, do I want to say a dusty purple? I don't know, just kind of a neat color. And in a demonstrator, it looks kind of cool. It's not transparent, which also would look cool in here, but it does look cool. It starts looking a little sloppy toward the end of the fill, though. And this is an ink you probably want to clean out. All right, I present to you now a pen that's been in use for several weeks. I'm hoping this weekend to film a review. I want to get a few reviews ahead because of things coming up. This is a Montblanc 32. Has an extra fine nib in it. Nice pen from the 70s. And the ink in it is Pilot Iroshizuku. I don't know if the Japanese actually roll their R's or not, but I felt inspired. Yamabudo. I just realized you couldn't see any of that, so I apologize. But I got to thinking, in Chinese, they don't say their R's the same either, like Ren. Huh. Anyway, not that Japanese and Chinese are the same language, but they're related, so one gives some clues about the other. All right, here's one you saw last week. This one is almost empty. In fact, I didn't think it would make it through the last letter I wrote. But it's still going, so we'll include it. Pelikan MK10. Can't remember the nib size. I want to say it's a fine. It sure looks like it. And the ink is Iroshizuku Konpeki, which is an attractive blue. It actually has, excuse me, it actually has a little bit of sheen to it, which is fun. This paper doesn't show the sheen the best, but it is nice paper. I will give it that. I, in fact, expect one of these weeks when I'm bored with pens to review this notebook. I haven't inked up this pen in a while. It's one I kind of like. I just don't use it much. You can see it's one of those not so slim, but slim-ish black pens. It's a more modern one. This is a Kaweco Dia2. This one has a gold broad nib on it. AU is gold, for those of you who aren't sciencey. And the ink is Stipula Saffron. I was just writing a letter earlier today with this ink. Well, one page of it. But I only got about half the page, and then I just thought, oh gosh, I just can't do this anymore. This is not a good writing ink. And I know you're looking at this saying, well, that's not so bad. And you're right. It starts out that way. But it seems like no matter what pen I put it in, it kind of fades as you write. So, yeah. So, maybe it's waiting for me to find the right pen. I don't know. But that is an attractive color. And I specified that it's the gold broad nib because the stainless steel broad nib has a very different writing character, and I've actually done a negative review of it when I reviewed that very pen. All right, here's one I just videoed this week. Almost out of ink because it's so much fun to write with. A Columbus 65. I was reading in a source I ran into after doing the video. That's what's called a demi-hooded nib. And the reason it's like that is to allow it to flex. And I don't know what that mark was about because I meant to go... No, I didn't mean to go in any direction, actually. I meant to write Noodlers. Black Swan. In Australian Rose. One of my favorite inks, and that is an awesome pen for showing that ink off. Two more. A Waterman Hemisphere. By the way, this stipula I forgot to mention when I was there earlier. My plan for that is to use it as a highlighter because I'm finally going to shoot that Cornell Notes video. Between being sick and being busy, I just haven't gotten it done, and I will now. You'd think I'd have more free time, but I'm doing a lot outside now. If you saw the living room, that's a lot neater than it was, but still not done. I tore everything off the shelves and did some rearranging, and looked like a mess for a few days. And now the mess is all like right there and still sitting on the couch here, where you can't see it. All right. Waterman Hemisphere, which turns out to be a wonderful pen with this ink. All right, and one more ink. This is a neat pen that I finally got around to inking. It's been drifting around for a while just because I had others I was more interested in, honestly. But now that I've inked it, I'm enjoying it. This is a Parker. It's a Parker Duofold from the 1920s. And I believe the finish is streamlined green. At least that's what it said. You might notice, and I'll try and figure out how to show this better when I get around to reviewing the pen. But you might notice that the ink or the celluloid here is darker than it is on the cap. That's because the latex sac in here off gases and has a chemical reaction with the celluloid. So you'll see that on older pens. This pen, unlike the modern Duofolds, is a button filler, and the button seems to want to come out. So this is a Parker Duofold. I don't know the nib size. I don't see anything written on it. Except Canada. Alright, I'm going to put the magnifier on just to show you that. But let me write the name of the ink first. This is a fun brand of ink. Basically a more restrained set of colors. No intense stuff here. Oh boy, did I misspell that. Let me try again. Kyonuto Coquiero, which translates roughly to moss green. I really love their blue-black. The pink is a little much. And then they have kind of a yellow color that's nice, and they have a black. That's a nice black. All right, so I'm going to put the magnifier on. Turn on the light. Because the way it works, it has to be right up on the object, and then the object's dark. So let's start. I gotta show you the nib here. See? Canada. And then there's a C there. I don't know what that stands for. But Parker Duofold pen. And when you look at it this closely, you can see that the nib tines aren't perfectly aligned. And I'll just say, maybe I could make the writing experience better. In fact, I probably could. So I may play with that in a bit after I empty the pen out. But on the whole, that is a good writing experience. Let's look at some Kyonuto for a minute while I cap the pen and put it away. I don't think any of the other pens had anything interesting to look at. I tried looking at the Nemosine re-entry nibs under the microscope, and that was a fail, so I won't bother with that again. So yeah, that's the Kyonuto under the ink. You can see it's actually pretty well behaved. Contrast that to this Bay State blue that's all feathery and such. The Australian rose does pretty well. Some slight feathers, but not bad. And, look at the shading. So pretty. I like it. And then this Stipula Saffron shades well, but as I said, as you write along, this ink does not always flow well. I've found in some pens I can't get it to write at all. And I don't know why. The Konpeki, of course, is well behaved. Shades a little, not a lot. That could be a function of the pen being practically empty. The Yamabudo is a nice intense purple. The Matahari's Cordial, I guess under the microscope I see a tiny bit of feathering, but overall that's a nice ink. It will soak through paper more easily than some inks, I will just mention that. And let's just compare the blacks real quick. Montegrappa black. You can see it's a nice black. It's kind of on the cooler side. Seems to behave. The Kaweco Pearl black is very black. I mean black. The carbon black is dark. It's not, amazing. But the thing there is it's very permanent. The Noodler's black is surprisingly almost greenish yellow looking. After I noticed that when I wrote this out, I went looking through some of my old writings. I'm like, holy cow, that really is not a perfect black the way I've always said it is. So, yeah, if you ever bought Noodler's black on my recommendation, thinking it would be a truly black, well, sorry. All right. DuoCart, the Aurora black. Looks pretty good. It basically behaves. I will say in a vacuum filler, I've had a little trouble. Sometimes that it's a little too thick and viscous, but basically behaves. Again, Aurora black, but in a thinner nib. And right next to Lamy black, and you can see that the Aurora is close to the light bulb, and it's still darker than the Lamy black. The Aurora black is a very black ink. But the Lamy is not bad and well behaved, and when I do the review you'll see that it behaves on cheap paper. The Edelstein Onyx is a little lighter, not a lot lighter, but you can again see behaves itself on this paper. It'll behave on cheaper paper. The Pelikan, where am I? I'm lost. The Pelikan black is also very well behaved, a little darker than the Onyx. A lot cheaper than the Onyx, so yeah. So anyway, those are the pens in use. I will be filming that video on the black inks. I'll be filming my video on Cornell notes. What I'm really excited about is I've been doing research on sketch notes, and I'm seeing a lot of possibilities there for my own teaching and for videos. And like I said, I want to do more than just review fountain pens. I want to share them with you, or share what you can use them for with you. And I see sketch notes as one of those things. They look interesting. Now, well, we'll talk about that when I do my sketch note video. I don't want to take up that video now. But anyway, I hope that was interesting. Hope it was useful. I'm going to, let's see what time it is at 4:30. I'm going to figure out what I'm eating for supper. Start it cooking, or maybe I'll just have a sandwich for supper, and see if I can spend a little more time outside. It's getting very dry here and hot, and we're supposed to get some thunderstorms tonight, but no real rain in the forecast, so I've got the feeling I'll be doing some watering. But anyway, hope that was interesting, hope it was useful. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.